Hello, and welcome to episode 206 of the Casual Try Hard podcast. I'm Bryan,
And I'm James.
and this week we're kind of going over maybe what Wizards' New Year's resolutions should be.
What their resolutions should be. Yeah, this is how you fix
Not
your
ours.
company, Wizards. Listen to us.
Yeah, let us help you fix your company.
Yeah.
I know Morrow listens, so we can
If only.
we can figure this out. So if you want to get at us on social media and, I don't know, tell us what our New Year's resolution should be, or, link
That'll
us
be fun.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
You can find all of that stuff down in the description, so go check that out. Facebook, Twitter, Discord, we're there a lot.
Yep.
We said Merry Christmas to everyone. Like, we're active in the Discord.
That's right. If you're looking to support the show, there's two ways you can do it. The first is our TCG player affiliate link, tcg.CasualTryHardMTG.com. Follow that link on over to TCG player, and anything you purchase after that will help to support the show. We'll get a percentage of your purchase to help pay our hosting fees and such. If you want to support us more directly, you can do so at patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG. Patrons get access to our show notes. They get access to about a whole nother hour of content in our pre-show, where we kind of catch up, talk about the show a little bit, talk about our personal lives a little bit. Just don't get to see each other as much anymore, so it's just us catching up, making sure our mics work and our computers haven't forgotten how to compute anymore. But yeah, it's about another hour of content you get out of us on Patreon. And also, if you send me your mailing address, once in a while I get some cool stuff I send out to you guys in the mail. We got a bunch of new patrons lately, but I don't think I've gotten many of their addresses despite asking for them. So if you are a patron and want to be put on the mailing list and haven't given me your address, make sure I get your address.
If you're a patron and you want free stuff,
Yeah,
give the man your address.
yeah, just give it to me.
Happen.
Yep. Speaking of, we just got a new patron today.
Oh.
Haven't gotten back with their address, so I don't know their actual name yet, but I wanted to shout out Vasilios TV. Thanks.
Ooh, thank you,
Thanks, Vasilios. Appreciate it. We also have our YouTube channel, Casual Try Hard MTG on YouTube. We've been trying to do some more content on there. We do a video version of this show that goes live the same time it does everywhere else, so you can check that out on Thursdays. Bryan's been putting out some limited content Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. He's got a bunch of draft videos coming up, so make sure you check those out. And you get me on Tuesdays for Tomfoolery Tuesdays, where you never know what I'm going to be playing. It's always something wild.
This week, it's Santa themed.
It is Santa themed. It's for Christmas. I know it's like a little late or whatever, but I recorded it before
it's still
Christmas.
The Christmas season.
It is, yeah. I even wore like a Santa hat.
Yeah, you're in the void week between Christmas and New Year's. It's still just general holiday.
Yeah.
Time does not exist.
That's fine. Right.
So, yeah, check all that stuff out. Like, we're trying to be a little more regular over on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I know that my brother's like, yeah, you got your stuff keeps popping up in my YouTube feed. I'm like, excellent.
Nice.
Excellent. It's working.
That's how it begins.
That's how it begins. And then at some point, I will have done so many, I'll get like a neon sign with like my name in the background. Just like a true Twitch streamer's background. It'll be great. So that's the end game.
Okay.
It's Dr. Gamer PhD in neon.
Perfect.
So, I was trying to come up with things that I know year-end stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about what our year-end like wrap-up show is going to be.
Well, should we do that before we do the show?
Yeah, let's open that first. So we did this last year to kind of like tie a bow on the year. We wanted to do like an award show.
Mm-hmm.
And so we are coming to you, the people, for some suggestions. So we had like a list of
categories.
A list of categories.
Yep.
I posted them on Discord last week. We've got a few takers.
Mm-hmm.
But So we have a list of things that we want to like kind of go over and award to Magic,
Yeah.
to ourselves, and to you, the people.
Yeah.
So we'll just start. I'll run through a couple of the categories and then you pick some up. So, what do you guys think our best episode was? Like, what are your suggestions for what the best episode is? We do 52 of these a year. We don't remember them all.
Every year, 52 of them.
Every year, 50, for almost 4 years.
Yeah, coming up very quickly on 4 years.
And then, what was our best like random tangent mid-show where we just went off the rails and talked about something random?
Yeah, I feel like that happens all the time.
Yeah, that's what you mainly tune in for, right?
Right.
You're just tune in for what dumb thing are they going to talk about today? What was the card of the year? So like that one's a little harder. I think like last year it ended up being like Ragavan was my vote as like the most impactful card.
Yeah.
And I was going through the old show notes. I forget what yours was, but yours was more like the card that like was most memorable. And I was like, no, this is the most rawly awful card. Like that one. I know it's gonna be hard to pick just one, but what was your product of the year?
Well, I mean, there was a lot of bad ones in there too, so hopefully the good ones were a little bit further and further between.
Yeah. So, what are some of these other ones we got?
So, kind of inverse of product and card of the year, we have the most broken card of the year and the most broken product of the year. So, like you said, you picked Ragavan for card of the year. I guess that's also the most broken card of the year, though, right?
I think last year, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever's the most broken, not necessarily the best, but the most broken. And same goes for product. What was overall the most broken product of the year? And then opposite from that, we also have the worst card of the year, which is kind of a weird one because there's a lot of really bad cards, right?
Oh yeah, there's like, I mean, in the in Brothers War, there's the like 3 mana like fog, but it only fogs things 3 CMC or less.
Yeah.
Like that's an awful card, but that's not a card that is gonna like pop to your mind like, oh man, this card was so bad.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's cards that are bad, but then there's like the cards you just think about and you're like, I can't believe this card exists.
Yeah. And then we have the worst product of the year. Now there should be some real doozies in here. There are a lot of real stinker products this year.
I think there's a runaway winner.
Yeah, probably.
But you never know. You never know.
And then we have the best and worst mechanic of the year. This one's a little bit easier to narrow down like contestants for because we know what all of the mechanics are.
We know all of those mechanics.
It's been quite a while since we knew what all the cards were.
Yes. And then what is our most confusing card?
Oh.
God, what is I was playing today. If you watch my draft video next week, it's Epic Confrontation. The number of times I have passed the turn thinking that this is an instant speed fight spell.
Yeah.
Even though, like, I'm pretty sure, like, 2 sets ago, they printed this exact same card as an instant speed fight spell.
Yeah, that's the problem.
And, like, I passed the turn multiple times, and then, like, I can't do anything, and I'm like, oh, I just lost this game because
because this is a sorcery.
This is a sorcery. Like,
yeah.
Oops. But there are other cards that are confusing, not because I'm dumb, but just because there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
What is the wordiest card? But if you were privy to our pre-show last week, we talked about MTG data science and the fact that, like, this is, like, the most words. What is it, like, 14% of every word on a Magic card was printed this year or something?
That's pretty impressive.
Yes. We already have some people chiming in for what was the best limited format.
I think I know what my answer for best limited format is.
I think I do as well.
Yep.
And then, what's the best draft build around? What was the card that you were like most excited to open in a draft this year?
Probably not bad sneak attack, right?
I wanted bad sneak attack to be good. Bad sneak attack. I played a couple. It's just bad.
Yeah.
It's so bad. It's so bad. It's sneak attack though. It should be good. It's bad.
It's bad. It's just bad.
It's bad. Bad. We tried. So, give us some input on these, like email, Facebook, Twitter, like
Yeah, wherever you want to get
Discord.
at us. Yep.
Yeah,
And-
just let us know, and we'll try to combine everyone's feedback.
Yeah.
And then, like, kind of things that are a little sparse, we'll fill in ourselves.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we'll
And,
probably chime in on even the ones that aren't sparse. We'll chime in on.
Yeah, we'll it's our show. We'll throw some stuff in there.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we want to give you guys a chance to kind of, more so than you already do, contribute to the show.
Yeah.
So please reach out, let us know, because there's probably some cards for best and worst that I've totally blocked out. Blocked out from.
I am 100% sure there are cards that I have completely forgotten about, or maybe ones that I never even knew existed.
Yes. Yes, there's been a few cards that I've been like, I've not seen that card before. Weird. Yep.
What's that set from?
It's like, oh, it's a supplemental, super secret, limited edition, drop, blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, cool.
Game Night's promo card. It's only available when you show up at FNM to play in your 5-deck Game Nights, whatever.
Yeah, the Game Nights like board game thing. You have to get that, then show up with it with an FNM.
Yeah.
And then you must play lands in front.
Right.
And then and only then you will unlock the code for this card.
Mechanically unique. It's the only place you can get one.
It's the only place you can get it. It's like the old Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Like you do the little dance and then you like backflip with a twist swan dive and then it like makes it so you have unlimited ammo. Same basic concept.
Yep.
All right. So I was thinking like, if we like ran Wizards, or like if we could like, tell Wizards like, hey, what should you focus on this year? What should your New Year's resolutions be as a company for Magic? I know you guys do other stuff. Talking to my brothers, apparently they do that other stuff poorly as well. Apparently D&D is in the exact same position Magic is in, where it's like, oh, would you like a digital copy of that? Please pay full price for it. But I already bought the paper one. There is no code. You must buy it twice. It's like, oh,
wonderful.
Like, that feels so familiar.
Yeah.
So, like, what are some things that maybe WOTC should do as their New Year's resolutions? So I came up with some, and you can throw some at me.
Yeah.
But the first one I came up with was, let's like try to make competitive Magic matter again. And like this is a much bigger.
Yeah, I mean this is like a whole episode that I think we've already kind of touched on multiple different parts of.
But like just the current system seems like no one cares.
I don't think they do.
There have been qualifiers in our area that have not like brought us out of our homes to go do.
Yep.
I constantly see on Twitter like, oh yeah, I showed up to this 2-slot qualifier at this game store and then being an 8-person single elimination tournament because only 8 people showed up for 2 spots.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, I went to this one slaughter and there were 25 people.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, that happens, but also like 25 people shouldn't be showing up for these.
Yeah.
Right.
Can I ask you a question kind of on like a side tangent for this?
Sure.
What would it take? Like what for you, what would it take to make competitive Magic matter again? What would you need to see to come out of your house and play in one of those events?
The thing that drew me to it was like it felt like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, that like if you said, "Hey, I made it to I qualified for the Pro Tour," people were like, "Oh, that's like an impressive thing," right? For most places. Now, granted, like if you're in some place that like, oh, 7 people in the store are qualified, it's like, oh, whatever, right?
Madison,
but, like,
Wisconsin.
If you're in Madison, Wisconsin, like everyone's qualified for the Pro Tour. Like your dog's qualified for the Pro Tour, right? But most normal places, like, one person qualified for the Pro Tour, like in our store, had qualified for the Pro Tour in like a decade. Right? And like that felt like an accomplishment. And it felt like an accomplishment because it was something that people like knew was difficult, understood how to get there, and then like the Pro Tour like showed up on screens and people talked about it and cared.
Yeah.
And so I think the thing that matters most is like making that end thing something that people like care about, right? Like even like, I got a feature match that ended up not being filmed. Thanks, Oko, Oko GP. There was a Pro Tour right beside me, and I got the one time I get picked for a feature match, right?
Yeah.
And the guy didn't even come back to get my name afterwards. I had the tech to beat Oko. But like even those things, like just like, oh man, can I get a feature match? Like that was an exciting thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh, I've got to do well because maybe I'll get picked for a feature.
Yeah.
Right? And like that, like excitement and like prestige of those events is gone. Right? So like it's more about bringing back the prestige of the event at the end.
Yeah.
Right? Because like now it's like, oh, I qualified for the regional championship, which is effectively just a GP that like you get to play in between like a Smash tournament and a CS:GO tournament, and it's like that's not like, it's more like an afterthought.
Right. Yeah, I'm not even sure that like it gets me back. Because for me, like it's not just about the big events. The big events were a blast, and I loved, traveling with the group of guys we traveled with, and we always had a great time. It didn't matter if the event was a dumpster fire or not. We always had fun. But like I think there needs to be a path to those events, and I'm not even sure that there is anymore. Like even if they announced that they were going back to the old system tomorrow, and we were going to have GPs and RPTQs and PPTQs and like the whole system we used to have, like that kind of magic doesn't get played anymore. Like I can't go to our LGS and like find anybody that wants to jam a game of Standard with me.
Well, I think that like the old system worked because the thing at the end mattered. And so you wanted to participate in the system because like, yes, the payoff was like winning the Pro Tour.
Yeah.
But like getting to the Pro Tour, getting to an RPTQ, like mattered. Right? And like if those matter again, like even if they keep the same like structure, right? Those mattering, those getting like eyeballs, those not like going to the Twitch front page and not having like, 3 e-girls with like, ears on their headphones and like 7 kids playing Minecraft, and then like number 40 on like the top streaming thing is the Magic Pro Tour, right? Like not having it buried and everything, having it being like, oh, everyone in Magic that cares about Magic has shown up to watch this thing. It is a big deal.
Yeah.
I think then starts to bring people in because they see that this thing matters. And like the problem is when they tried to do that, they made it like, so it was so opaque on how you like, how did you get to like the mythic qualifier that Mengu won and won $1 million?
Right.
Well, it was a combination of you were good at Magic and you like also like
were randomly selected to be on the team.
Randomly selected, like yeah, someone was like, oh, this person streams to 3,000 players, to 3,000 people, playing with Bionicles.
Right.
I guess we'll have this person. Like, I'm a Lego streamer. Yep, come on in, Lego streamer.
Tag, you're it.
Yeah, exactly. I play Gwent. Cool, you're in. And it's like, no. Like, so like that was like, hey, here's this thing that matters. But then people were so jaded because it was like, it just seemed like they put the top like 100 people on Twitch in a hat and they just pulled people out.
Yeah.
and they were like, "Oh, Mr. Beast, you want to come?" And he's like, "I'll buy your whole company." No, calm down, Mr. Beast.
Last
No.
one to take their finger off this Black Lotus wins it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So like when they were trying to do that, they kind of failed at like letting it be like that you and I could be like, okay, if I like grind and play my cards right and play the best Magic I've ever played in my life, maybe I can show up and be in this 64-person tournament and like play Battleship with my laptop against like John Finkel.
Yeah.
Right. But no, instead it was like, eh. So like they went through a phase where they where they made these things matter, but then made it not clear how you got there.
Yeah, I think
Right.
like the point I was trying to make was that I don't know if Wizards can fix that.
Oh, I don't know if they can either.
Because they've spent so long like training their player base to not play competitive Magic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've said it on the show a bunch of times. Look at all like the ex-pro Magic players that are like, well, I guess Commander content gets views, so let's do that.
Exactly.
Like you've trained your like entire ecosystem to not care about competitive Magic anymore.
Yeah, well, one of the things I kind of brought up in this point was in like one of the calls or something, or maybe the fireside chat, is like or somewhere they're like, yeah, like we used to think of Magic players as like a monolith, of they were just all Magic players, but now we look at them as collectors, casual, and competitive.
Yeah,
and I think before all Magic players were looked at as more of like the competitive player. So they put more resources towards things like the Pro Tour,
right,
and things like that. But now, if, even in the best case, if it's a third casual, a third competitive, and a third collectors, the competitive people are only getting a third of the resources they used to get.
Right.
Right. So like, oh no, we've got to like, instead of using that money to have like a reasonable OP system, or to like make it so an LGS doesn't have to spend $400 to host an event.
Yeah.
We've got to like pay for licensing fees for Care Bears on a card. Right. Like,
coming
oh
soon
man,
to a secret lair near you.
Care Bear Stare.
Yep.
But which would be like one of the the Beholder cards where they're zapping something. Be the Care Bear Stare.
Yeah.
So like I just don't know if they can fix it, but like it would be nice if like it mattered again, or like to make the coverage good. Like we're to the point now where poor Anzid is just like he's got a backpack full of cameras.
Yeah.
And like
I don't
goes
know.
event to event.
I don't know how that dude like has motivation to do what he does. It's unreal.
Like, he has like, from what I watched the stream, he has like a non-traditional job. He is like nebulously a consultant.
Oh, okay.
So like, maybe that gives him some freedom to do that kind of stuff. But yeah, like I don't know if I care about like the long-term health of like Magic coverage.
Right.
To like throw a bunch of recording equipment in a bag and fly across the country to like record like Eternal Weekend or whatever.
Like not taking
like,
anything
respect.
away from him, because
respect.
Yeah,
like it's amazing.
He tweeted something over the weekend, I think, looking for trivia that he could like put on screen during downtime or whatever.
Yeah, he had some like test images up
and
test videos.
I don't know. I know it wasn't the intent, and like I said, I don't want to take anything away from him, but I felt so bad. I'm like, this dude like goes out of his way to travel to all these events and like keep the dream of Magic coverage alive, and doesn't have the time to like look some cards up and make trivia. So here he is like begging random people on Twitter to make trivia
like, hey, can you
for
help
him.
Out? Like
I just
but
felt so bad.
yeah, it's so much effort. Like he's trying to do what an entire team of people
Right.
did before. And I mean, you could think that like in the long term, right? Like maybe he's got it in his head that in like 4 or 5 years he's like built a small team
Mm-hmm.
and then can be like, hey, Flesh and Blood,
Yeah.
I'll come do pay me X and we'll come do coverage at your event.
Mm-hmm.
And then next, like this could be the start of like, you know, a Magic coverage business.
Yeah.
But it also is more than likely just like, I want Magic to not suck.
Right.
And I'm watching Wizards make it suck. Therefore, I'm going to go fix it myself.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that was one of my like things is like, I don't know. I don't think they can make competitive Magic matter again. But like, it just seems like they were like, people want competitive Magic. We're just going to like make it an afterthought at like this DreamHack event.
Yeah.
And like, you know, as opposed to like, you know, putting a few people on it.
Yeah.
To like do it in house.
I think like more what it felt like to me was that they did this just so that they can say, "Oh, look, we did this and it failed." This is our justification for not doing this anymore.
Not doing it.
We did this and it failed.
Yeah, as opposed to like, hey, you could put like a small team on this in-house. You could run like they could run like a GP a month somewhere in the world.
I mean, that's
right?
Like what they used to do. There was one like every other weekend somewhere in the world. They never doubled up. They weren't ever on the same weekends as other events.
Yeah, like, but if they just did like, or like just do one every set. Like, there's like 4 continents that Magic's really big on. 5, right? Like 1 in North America, 1 in Europe, 1 like Asia Pacific, which is kind of crappy. I don't know. Yeah. Like you could do 1 in Asia, 1 in Australia, 1 in South America, right? 5. Do 5, right? Like 4 standard set releases and then 1 like god awful like Ghostbusters set release or whatever it is, right? Right, but like you do something like that where it's just like Wizards is taking the time to be like, we care about this, not like, you know, the like Magic, what are they now? Magic, they're not Magic Fest. They're whatever the heck the thing in Philadelphia is.
Oh yeah, what's it called? Magic. I don't even know what it's called anymore.
I mean, the branding is powerful. It's really stuck with us. Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that they spent all the money.
At least it's not Mythic anymore.
Yeah, but like, just like a GP where it's like about like playing Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
Just do that, and like if like you make enough money that if you had to take a little bit of an L on this to sell more product, like it seems like a good thing.
Yep, I agree.
All right. So what was our next thought of things Wizards should maybe want to do for the following year?
It's something to not do instead of something to do. Let's go with a little bit less products.
Please.
Yeah, it's too much. I don't think it is possible to care about everything anymore.
No, I think it is not. And like once you tune out, you don't know when to tune back in.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't care about this like flurry of tweets about some product. So how do you know what the next set of tweets is you're supposed to care about?
Right.
Or the next like weekly MTG you're supposed to watch and be like, oh, yeah.
Well, I think the secret layers are like the perfect display of this, because there were so many secret layers released over the last like 3 months that at some points we had gotten a tweet, you know, stating that we have more secret layers coming and what some of them were, but didn't spoil all of them. And then we got more tweets saying that more secret layers were coming. Well, how do you know which drop they're in? Are they in the first drop? Are they in the second drop? You don't even have all of the first drop like released yet, and you're already spoiling the second drop. Like you said, how do you know which ones you're supposed to pay attention to and which ones you're not?
which of these products is for me? And like the default has become none of these products.
of them.
None of these products are for me.
Yep.
But like something that I think is like lost is there was a point where like a set release was special.
Mhm.
Like getting new Magic cards, getting the spoiler season was like special.
Yep.
And you got like excited for it. Like you had done the current set for two months,
Mhm.
right? And then they started to like hit you with a little bit of a little taste of the new stuff or whatever, and you're like, oh yeah, new cards, cool. And like now, like you don't have that specialness anymore, right? Like it's just
you don't have it at all. Like pre-release used to be a big deal because it was the first time anybody got to play with the cards. They weren't released early online anywhere. Spoiler season would like end and then you'd have pre-release. There was no week of content creator deck build off. There wasn't like spoiler season ended and then you had pre-release. And then the week after you got to play with the cards. Well, they're like basically getting rid of pre-release now, right? Like
yeah. So now, like as soon as you get the cards, you can play with them.
Right. So that kind of just makes it the release.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there'll still be pre-release events with pre-release kits. I'm sure they'll still run them the same way because it's a good event, but it's not a pre-release anymore. It's just the set release.
Now, this is a, we, since we don't have competitive Magic, thing one, could you imagine, like, if, like, a Star City event the weekend of, like, pre-release?
Yeah.
And some people had cards.
And some people
and were
didn't.
playing new decks.
Yeah.
And some people couldn't get the cards. It would just be, like, wild. Like,
yep.
What is that thing? Like, that's a Shieldred. What? I've never seen that before. Yeah, funny story.
Yeah.
I bought 17 pre-release kits and I got some, so I'm jamming it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But yeah, like if we had less products, each individual product would be something that more people would be able to digest and care about.
Yep.
Like I understand like the push to like have stuff for collectors and blah blah blah, but there comes a point where like even if I'm a collector of Magic, right?
You can't keep up.
If you give me, I was looking at the secret layers for December. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There are 14 different, 28 if you count like the foil and non-foil versions of things that you can add to your cart. Let it be the entire bundle or just a particular like secret layer drop from that whatever family or whatever.
Yeah.
28 different things for December. Right? Like there's just too much for people to care about.
Way too much.
And like it'd be nice if like, oh hey, this feels like something special. I can get excited about this. But if you're like constantly in a state of excitement, right? Like it stops being exciting.
Right.
Right? Like
when everything's special, nothing is.
Exactly. So that's a much better thing than I was gonna be like you start out with the easy stuff, then you move on to like the hard stuff. I just can't get the same high anymore.
Yeah.
I need Frank Frazetta art now. In my veins.
Just give it to me.
Oh, no, that's not working anymore. Cereal box art.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, no, like you gotta like pump the brakes.
Yep.
Now
I kinda like this next one.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm actually kind of a proponent for this.
I would like them to manage their formats.
Yeah. Or I would like for them to not manage their formats, I think is more
and
apt.
Let somebody else do it.
Yes.
Right. So managing the formats kind of means one of two things. One, like kind of make the format like functional and like diverse.
Yeah.
Right. Or two, make it fun. Right. if people are playing and not having fun, you have failed at your game,
Correct.
right? Or like if you're like, you know what, this isn't supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be a strategic challenge. Blah blah blah. Okay, fine. Make your format like diverse and not garbage,
Right.
right? And
I mean,
make
it
that
like a format can be both of those things at the same time.
I mean, ideally, yes.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna pick one, decide which one you're gonna pick and do it.
Yeah.
Don't kind of go back and forth. The ideal is, hey, the format is like diverse and fun and has like depth and all of this stuff. That's great, but like if you're gonna like you can't go like back and forth and be like, oh, we're banning this card because it's not fun or it's hard to shuffle your deck, but this other card, like, no, pick one.
Yeah.
So like in Legacy, and I know this is the like age-old problem with Delver, is it Ponder and Brainstorm's fault,
right,
or is it all the other cards? But like there's a really strong argument that like Murktide Regent and Dragon Rage Chandler should probably not be in the format.
Mm-hmm.
Right? At least not together. Right? Like Delver shouldn't have access to like 2 mana 8/8s.
Right.
Right? Or right, we shouldn't be playing Pyroblast in our main deck.
Yeah.
Right.
2 mana 8/8s with evasion that give you card advantage.
Right. And like what is the thing I was gonna say? Gosh. Like your format can't end up being like, well, you can play Delver, or the next best deck you can play is Soul Land Chalice, pick a ham sandwich.
Yeah.
Right. The current ham sandwich is the Initiative.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But like for a while the best or second best deck in the format was Mono Red Prison.
Well, just wait until we get the Fellowship. Once you get the Fellowship, then.
Oh gosh, yeah. Or like, you know, Golem is like, you know, the blue Ragavan.
Yeah.
Like if it hits you, you get to like ponder.
It's a 1 mana. It's black. It's a 1 mana Hypnotic Spectre.
Yeah, exactly. That's the ring.
Yeah.
It's the ring. It's an equipment. It's 1 mana, but it like turns your thing into a flying specter.
Yeah.
But like Murktide, Dragon Rage Chandler probably need to go. I would argue that a lot of the initiative stuff needs to go. And I know that people get like, oh, Legacy people don't want to see stuff change and stuff. And I think we talked about this last week. It's just like, people don't want the Legacy meta game to be 4 different things in the span of a year.
Right.
Right? It's like no, like Legacy should move slowly.
Yeah, I mean, if you bought $3,000 worth of Lion's Eye Diamonds, it kind of hurts to not play Lion's Eye Diamonds.
Exactly. So, like, you know, manage Legacy, or we can talk about this now. Like, I know it's scary, but maybe we should move to like the Pauper like model for Legacy at least.
I'm kind of a proponent for moving to this model like across the board. And I know there's problems with the system, and you know, who do you decide who's on the board, and you know, do they really have the 4 best interests at heart, or like how do they come off of the board if they're not doing their job or whatever. But at this point, like, competitive Magic doesn't matter anymore. The only thing that Wizards cares about are casual formats. So like there's no incentive to play anything like sanctioned. And if you're not playing sanctioned Magic, who cares? Like, let's make a Legacy committee, and maybe we don't call it Legacy, maybe we call it something else, but it's Legacy with a committee. Same goes for Modern.
Yeah, just like, because it seems like there's just like a bunch of people asleep at the switch.
Yeah.
And like you have your community like, this is miserable, this is no fun, this isn't any good, I'm not having fun. Like, you know, now recently Thraben Yu was like, I don't think there needs to be any bans out of Delver because the initiative kind of balances stuff out. And it's like, is that really where we want to be? Is like,
yeah, where the prison deck is like, balancing your
yeah, a prison deck with like just random free value cards. But like, at the same time, a month and a half ago, it was like, oh my god, Wizards, why don't you ban Murktide? I'm so sick of good games of Magic ending in like, opponent has Murktide, I lose.
Yeah.
Right, and it's like I don't know, it's kind of hard to be in like both spots. Like, I don't think Legacy needs anything, and then like, let me play this tape from a month ago.
Yeah,
we're like, this is misery. All the games end the exact same way. But like, Legacy needs some sort of help. I have here, and like, this is sad. Like, I have no idea what's going on in Modern.
I have no idea. You know who does?
Like, who?
Aspiring Spike. He should be the one that's like figuring out.
Committee.
Yeah.
You know what Aspiring Spike's mom got him for his Christmas present?
What's that?
A pink neon sign that says Aspiring Spike.
All right.
That's where. That's the end game. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Right. But like, yeah, like, what is going on? Like, is like, one of your best decks being free 3/2 that thought seizes you, then blanket thought sees you again on turn 1.
Yeah.
Is that fun? Is that like enjoyable Magic?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, if the answer is no, maybe we shouldn't do that.
Right.
And like, I know that like you built your whole format on like, a free red spell that makes it so you can't play X ones.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I went like 1-drop into 1-drop into 1-drop. Yeah, I paid 0 mana in 3/2 Jew. So that was good for me. Was it good for you?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I don't know if you heard much of this or not. I know you were kind of busy over the weekend, but we talked about like this being like, we're referencing the Pauper format panel or whatever it is, and Commander also has like the RC that obviously Wizards is not in control of, and like they didn't make the RC. But did you hear
Sheldon's article?
Yeah, over the weekend.
Yeah, I didn't read it. I just kind of saw what it was.
So you didn't really have to, because a lot of the backlash that I saw wasn't actually about the article. It was about the fact that the RC is being provided with advance notice of cards in upcoming Magic sets to give their opinions on whether or not they should be printed. Why should the RC have any control over anything that Wizards does, let alone what's going to be legal for every other format?
So I kind of like I can't remember all the times and this might be later on in here. Oh, it is, right. If you look at Dominaria United, how many of the rares and mythics were just commander cards that like made no sense in the limited environment?
All of them.
And we're gonna like make all of them, right?
Yeah.
So they're like designing a lot for commander. And I understand the like Wizards is in this weird spot where like they're designing cards for commander, but they don't want to design a card for commander and then the RC immediately ban it. Right? I agree that like it's funny that Wizards is running their cards by this external body,
right?
As opposed to being like, we need this card to make blue, white, blink, and standard a deck. We need Elish Norn to do that. So we're going to print Elish Norn because we need it. Right? As opposed to like, what is a kind of white commander we don't have? Right. This thing. Okay, cool. We're going to make that commander, and like, I guess if there's like a blink deck, it'll be good in it. Or it'll be awful to play against. I don't know which. Okay, cool. Ship it. Right? Saffron Olive said on a tweet, he's like, I kind of feel like the RC at this point is like almost like WOTC staff that just doesn't have to use the hashtag.
Well,
right?
Yeah.
And people were all like, they're not being paid, and blah, blah, blah. He's like, they're helping design cards.
Well, I mean, if they're not getting paid, that's their problem. They're working for Wizards for free. Yeah,
but like they're helping design cards on some level. They're like, now, apparently Wizards like contracts out to people. Brian Gottlieb talks about how he worked on Kamigawa
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. Like they we all heard the stories about Sam Black playing Loris
Right.
when like Modern Horizons 2 was coming out, and they were like, "Stop it!" And he's like, "I can't. It's the best thing to do. What have you people done?" Right. So like they do this, but like it is funny that we just keep running cards like into Commander, and then they break other things, right? You look at them like, yeah, that's fine for Commander. It's like, oh yeah, but it's not fine for any other format.
Yeah.
Like we can't do that. But like, I wish I could tell you like what was going on in Modern. I just haven't cared, and like at this point, the Modern content I watch is like Saffron Olive playing like junk into like random piles of nonsense,
Mm-hmm.
or random like good decks.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, make Modern fun. Like I feel like Modern, like there's like two camps. There's people who are like, oh, Modern's so like deep and interesting and stuff, and then there's people that's like, hey, remember 3 years ago when I could play Arcbound Ravager and not get laughed at? Like that was pretty cool. Could I do that again? Yeah, that's not good enough. It's like Arcbound Ravager was good enough for
years,
like for Modern for like 10 years, and it got Mox Opal banned.
Yep.
And now like I can't play that card ever.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, sorry. It's like, but it went from being top of the metagame. It was a promo in 2019. They gave it to us for going to an event
2 or 3 times, right? It was a promo, and it was in a secret lair, and it was something else. There were like 3 premium versions of that card within the span of like 18 months.
And now you can't play it.
Right.
And it's like, so there's people like, oh, the gameplay is so interesting and stuff. And it's like, yeah, you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to play Noble Hierarch into a 3-drop. And I was like, yo, you can do that, but then I'm going to Fury them all away.
Yeah.
And then with my remaining mana, I'm going to play a Renin 6, and I'm going to like plus it and get a land back.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I guess I just lost the game because because on turn 2 I played 2 creatures.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a mistake. Sorry.
Yeah, shouldn't have done that.
So, right. Having played against Mono Green and Explorer and beaten it a few times.
I haven't seen it yet.
I've seen it a number of times. So on Christmas Day, it was just Red Black Sack was all I played against. I was like, what? Who found this under their tree? Like, what is going on? People who got coal
in their stocking.
Exactly. But like Karn and Pioneer is not a fun card.
Yeah.
Right. Like, there's a part of me that's like, just ban all the cards that say you cannot.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, they're just not fun cards.
Narset, Teferi, Karn, like, just get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
Make the format fun. Right? Please. And then, like, Standard. Now, admittedly, I play mainly Explorer. But I do see some Standard stuff from time to time. And I know that the most recent Arena Decklist podcast was Standard is actually good. That was, like, the title of it. But, like, can we not have Fable? Like, Fable's too good for Standard. Stop. Like, there's no reason to play half the other colors in the format because of Fable. And Mono Black, when I run into when half the cards I run into in Explorer Red Black are Standard legal, there's probably a problem.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Like, I hadn't realized how good Misery Shadow was. It's like, oh, if I don't untap, I just take 5 next turn. If I don't kill this right now, I just take 5 next turn.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a problem.
Yep.
Like, and then they play a Shieldred. Right? Right, like, that should not be, like, it's weird. Also, I have a prediction. If nothing changes, I think you just can't play red removal in Standard going forward. Like, you can't.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I played a Misery Shadow. Okay. If they keep mana open, I can never kill it.
Right.
Cool. They played a Shieldred. Are there any red spells that are like standard playable that deal 4 damage? No.
Oh, 5 damage.
Oh, they 5 damage. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They played Phyrexian Obliterator. Obliterating Bolt. Yeah, I'll sack all of my permanents and you can kill your Obliterator.
Right.
Right? Like, no, like, the problem. Something probably needs to go.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, you know, again, I am so jaded to standard. It would take a lot for me to go in and play. Now, there is, like, one deck I want to put together and play that's, like, janky and not real. Right? But, like, that's it. There's one thing I'm interested in.
Yeah.
And
I don't know. I think it's weird because I don't know how I want to phrase this. Like, perception is reality almost. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, the world is how you perceive it. And if there's no structure to competitive Magic and people are only playing formats that, like, they're being told they're allowed to play, like, I mean, if there's no modern events, like, why does modern as a format exist? If there's no standard events, why does standard as a format exist? I think that, like, people can and should grassroots this stuff. Like, if you want to ban a card, like, let's call it almost modern, and we'll get some people together and say, hey, let's ban this card.
I mean, there was the Legacy, the Heritage event,
right?
Which was Legacy without dumb stuff.
Yep.
I guess without dumb stuff and Baleful Strix.
Yeah.
And
but, like, that sort of thing should be happening all over the place. Like, if Modern's no good, let's do Heritage Modern. If Pioneer's no good, well, I guess, like, you can't really do Heritage Pioneer, but like, do something about Karn.
These are the cards that shouldn't be in the format. These cards are not fun.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, they got rid of Expressive Iteration.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Narset Collective, is it Collective Defiance? The red one?
Mm-hmm.
Where, like, you wheel your opponent.
Yep.
And then they just can't draw cards. That deck went away, but they're going to print some other cantrip that makes that deck playable.
Yep.
Right? And then we're just going to be, like, playing all these, like, awful blue-red games where, like, who can stick Narset and wheel the other person first.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, well, did you have fun? I did not. I've gotten way more of the did you have fun in this match, like, pop-ups.
Yeah, I have lately, too.
Yeah. And, like, part of managing the formats is just the fact that there are so many cards that, like, snowball.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's all they
like,
print anymore.
Yeah, like, you know, a Baneslayer Angel kind of snowballed, right? It had to attack and stuff, and it kind of got out of hand. But there are just so many cards now that it's like you don't have to do anything with them, and you just lose the game if you don't kill them.
At least a Baneslayer Angel wasn't going to bury you. Like, sure, it's a huge life point swing that will, like, stabilize somebody, but it's not going to put somebody ahead on cards and tempo. Like, you're going to be able to trade for it 1-for-1. Whereas, like, a lot of the stuff that they're printing now, like, not only replaces itself and gives you the mana back, but also puts you up a card by the time your opponent, like, deals with the threat. And if they don't deal with it right away, there's no coming back. Like a Baneslayer Angel, sure, it would suck, but you could take 2 hits from it and not be dead.
Yeah, you're at 10, like, you got to draw cards, like,
yeah.
you know, now, like, your Baneslayer Angel is Shieldred, and if you're like, I need to cast a draw spell to, like, try to find my answer, it's like, well, you're going to take 6 this turn cycle.
Right.
Then it's going to attack you, so you've taken 10 before you can answer it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. Suck.
Yeah.
You know, or 12 maybe, right? Like, it's killed you. If you cast 1 divination, you're basically dead.
Right.
And I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess I can't, like, come back from this if I don't have the answer in my hand.
Yeah.
When it resolves. I mean, I play games now, and I'm like, well, I could try to remove that, their 3-drop or whatever, but I've got to hold on to this Leyline Binding in case they have a Shieldred as their 4-drop.
Right.
Here we go. right? And then the last one we touched on this. Can we design sets for standard and not commander, please?
I mean, I think we should design sets the way we used to, and like full stop. Like, I think Horizon sets are a bad idea. Just in general, I think they're a bad idea.
We can thank Tom Ross for that.
Yeah, well,
he pitched that idea in one of their like lock-in pitch things.
Yeah.
And the Horizon sets are what came out of his pitch.
Yeah.
But like I look at, like I mentioned it, like Dominator United, like seemingly all the higher rarity cards were for what's it called?
Commander.
Were for Commander.
Yeah.
And right, like it seems like the supplemental products are like for, you know, specifically for Commander.
Mm-hmm.
Or just happen to be for Commander. And like you said, like we should go back to designing sets that are like, does this card make sense in the limited environment? Does it make sense in what we see standard being?
And let the other formats fight over the scraps.
Yeah. Right? Like, again, I go back to like Monastery Mentor.
Mm-hmm.
Saw a little play in standard, right? There was like the Jeskai token deck that you could maybe put one in, right? Like, was like a fringe player in modern.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was good enough that people thought about it.
Yep.
But not good enough to actually stick anywhere, right? And then saw and still sees like play as a 1 of or a 2 of, and like it's like a sideboard juke and like blue white control decks and or Jeskai control decks and Legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just kind of like it sees a little bit of play everywhere.
Yep.
Right? And you know, I'm sure it showed up in some Commander decks.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Or oh gosh. Is it Prophet of Krufix?
Yeah.
It's like the weird like Seedborn Muse.
Yep.
Like blue-green's like thing in that draft format was like untapping things with like Kiora's Follower and stuff like that. Like that card made sense in like Theros. And it happened to be really good in Commander.
Yeah, got banned.
But like to say that but to like have a situation where like it seems like every set's just like we need to put 25 more legends into Commander.
Yeah.
And
yeah, how many legends did we get this year? 450 something?
I thought it was 425.
Maybe.
It was 1.6 per day.
Yeah.
Right, maybe it was 450. But yeah, so just like some like ungodly number. Like, so how about we don't do that? And how about we do you know, just design cards like we used to.
Yeah.
And then you avoid like then you might not have to manage Legacy as hard if you're not throwing like 35 ridiculous cards. Yeah, that you know, because like even now with like oh gosh, was it Unfinity, right? Like we're designing cards specifically to be played as non-Acorn for Commander.
Yeah.
And like Cosmos the Wonder Dog might be good enough for Comet. Was it Comet?
Comet.
Yeah. Oh, oops. I guess that's Legacy playable.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. It won't be too bad. It's like no. That's not how you should do stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Like let's go back to designing sets like we used to, and like the Commander players will be happier too if they get to like try to find like cool cards. I think we talked about it in the pre-show. Where did I have it up? The new rat guy.
Yeah, I think we talked about it last week.
Yeah, but like that card's absurd.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If it's any other creature type, it's like it breaks 3 formats.
Yeah, I mean, like the going back to I think what your point was is like the Commander guys. It you know I haven't played Commander in forever, but it's got to be kind of a weird feeling to have just finished a deck and then all of a sudden have a strictly better commander for that deck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't imagine that's a good feeling. Like you finally craft like the perfect, 99 cards or whatever, and then you have a strictly better version of the commander for that deck that requires you to, probably not
Start
change
over
the
again.
whole deck, but certainly recontemplate your decisions.
Your choices. And like, there doesn't need to be a commander in every color pair that does everything.
Right.
Right? Like, oh man, we don't have a Boros Go Wide Equipment commander that cares about attacking with creatures power 4 or greater. Guess what? Like, that's fine.
Yeah.
Like, I think that, part of deck building is being like, I don't have the exact thing that I need. How can I like put it together? How can I like find a way to make this work? And it, like you said, it seems like every 2 sets are like, here is the best version of this commander you could ever possibly want.
Yeah.
Here you go. Or like, like, oh man, I'm super sad that there's not like Lemming Tribal. Oh, you're sad there's not Lemming Tribal? Well,
Yeah, let's fix that for you real quick.
Here's 15 Lemmings.
Yeah.
And a 3-color Lemming Lord that also draws you 3 cards if you attack with 2 or more Lemmings off a cliff. And it's like, okay. If one of your Lemmings falls off a table, draw 3 cards.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh. It's like, you know what? We would live if we didn't have Lemming Tribal.
Yeah.
Right? And like, I think the people that are like, want Lemming Tribal or whatever would be like way happier if like, over the course of like 3 years, like 4 playable Lemmings got printed.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like randomly a Lemming lore, a Lemming legend of like, oh my god, I can finally kind of put this janky little deck together, and like, over the next few years, I might get another Lemming, and all that'll be so great.
Like going back to your original point here, I think, remember back to like 2016, and I know it's like the butt of a lot of jokes now, but like Tiny Leaders was a very popular, fun format, like while it was new, until it got solved. And like maybe it's not even solved anymore. I have no idea, but like a lot of people played it, and a lot of people had a lot of fun playing it. And I think the reason why people had fun and enjoyed playing it was because it was so restricted. Like there wasn't even a commander for every color pair. Like was it Sultai didn't have a general,
Sultai,
so they had to have like
a
generic. Yeah.
It was a 3-mana 2/2 no text.
Yeah.
Right, but like I think a direct response to that was Leovold.
Maybe.
Right, like Tiny Leaders was popping. Wizards is designing cards.
Yeah.
They see that Sultai has, generic Grey Ogre.
Yeah, so they gave him like the best commander that's ever commanded.
Yeah. And then
you
like,
just get to have all of the fun now.
Yeah, the format went away, and then there's this like $35, $50 legacy staple.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, oops. I kind of missed the boat on that.
Yep.
But yeah, like I played Sultai in Tiny Leaders because I wanted to do Sultai things, and I was like, it's fine. I don't have to have a guy for this. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And like, hey, like I want to play Rat Tribal with like some garbage like rat legend from original Kamigawa. Fine. Again, like, I don't know, like I'm still confused, I bring it up all the time, by the mentality of the commander player. On one hand, we're just having fun. I just want to play decks of similar power levels and have good games. But by God, I want to have the absolute best card in every single slot in my deck. It's like, you know what? No, you identify as a rat boy. You have a rat tail. You're going to play garbage rats. Fine. Like, that is like what you do.
I think that there is something that you're missing there. Because when you're trying to do something weird, in order to not get run over, you do have to have, like, some of the cards in your deck have to be like absolute best in slot. You have to pick and choose where you want your power to be to make like it work. You know what I mean? You can't just shuffle up, 60 something stinkers with some basic lands and say, yeah, I got a rat tribal deck, because you're like, nobody's going to have fun. You're going to get steamrolled and your opponents aren't going to have fun beating up on you. You've got to have like something in there to do with some power to be relevant.
But the thing is like, it's more along the lines of like, it always seems like on one hand it's like I just want to have fun, but and like it's like if you're gonna like play mono black rats and you're like, okay, fine, I'll have like Cabal Coffers and Urborg and Damnation.
Yeah.
Like, cool, but I'm gonna play like 25 like C- rats because I want to have like rats. Like, okay, cool. Like if you want to like, I guess the thing is like, if you want to play rats and rats aren't good, that's fine. But it seems like everyone plays their favorite like tribe that they know is bad, and then they complain that their tribe is bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, then it's like, that's a Magic player thing. That's not necessarily just Commander.
Oh, let's like fix your tribe, and it's like, you know what? No.
Yeah.
Maybe like, because eventually like everyone complains that like every tribe is bad.
Right.
I guess like the only tribe that people don't complain about is like humans.
Yeah.
Right. Like, but like, hey, like, yes, I know tonight I'm going to bring rats, and I know I'm probably going to lose, but I'm going to hope that I like get Master Splinter and like whatever other rat from Kamigawa on the board and like do the rat thing. Okay, cool. That was what I wanted to do tonight. But I had this other deck that is like 4-color Omnath landfall, annihilate you on turn 3, and I can play that too. But like, it just seems like Wizards has decided that no one ever gets to play a janky commander anymore.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the problem too. Yeah,
you can, but Wizards is like, you don't have to.
Right.
Like, oh, like that rat commander is fine, but here's a really good one.
Well,
and everyone's like, I guess I have to play the good one.
It kind of goes back to what we were saying, what we were complaining about with Modern or Legacy, though, is, they keep printing these Horizon sets that introduce like artificial rotation, and they're kind of doing the same thing in Commander, where they're introducing artificial rotation. Like, in order for there to be good tribes, there has to be bad tribes, right? In order for there to be, good archetypes, there have to be bad archetypes.
And something I talked about a few months ago, I'm starting to see calls for it. I saw a couple tweets. It was like, you know what color needs an overhaul in Commander next after white? Black. And it's like, yeah. So the problem is white was the worst color. Everyone complained.
Right.
Wizards made white not the worst color. Now there's a new worst color.
Yeah.
Now this means Wizards has to fix that color.
And
then what's going to happen? Oh, now red's the worst color. Now we have to fix red.
Yep.
And then it's just this like vicious cycle where like eventually green's the worst color, and they're like, 1 mana, Elder Gargaroths, go.
All of the value, none of the mana.
Yeah, like, okay.
How many words of text can we put on a 1 mana card?
I mean, Ragavan has a lot.
They can do better.
Oh gosh, there was like a really bad card. What was that 1 mana 3/3 that when you played it, you rampant growth your opponent?
Was that old growth dryads?
Yeah, maybe that was it.
Yeah.
It's like something from like Ixalan.
No, it was Innistrad, I think.
Was it Innistrad?
Or no, maybe you're right. Maybe it was Ixalan.
Old growth dryad. Let's look it up.
Maybe it was Ixalan.
Old growth dryads from Ixalan. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent may search their library for a basic land, put on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle his or her library. 1 mana 3/3 from Ixalan.
Yep.
That's a lot of text on a 1-drop. But it still has room for flavor text, so it's not enough.
Right.
But yeah, like, it seems like multiple formats would be benefited from designing for standard
Mhm.
and letting some things happen
Yep.
in other formats with those cards, as opposed to being like, well, we want to plant a like 2 mana unconditional removal spell in blue and black in modern.
Yeah.
So we're gonna print it into standard because we think that's missing. And oh well, there's not a Naya Dragon Commander that does this. So that's gonna be one of the mythics from our next set.
Yeah.
How many dragons are in the set? Oh, there are 2 other dragons in the set. So if this is my mythic that I should be excited to open when I open my pack, yes.
Yeah.
It literally impossible for me to do anything with it with the text on the card. Oh, it's still a 5 mana 5/5 word too. But the other paragraph, the other paragraph doesn't mean anything to you.
Yeah.
Why is it in the set? Well, the commander players need it. You release 8, 12, 16 commander products a year for them.
Mm-hmm.
It couldn't find its way in one of those. Oh no, it didn't really fit the themes of the other.
It couldn't have waited until you had a product that you could put it in?
No, we designed it and we just didn't feel like kicking it back out. We were short of mythic because we decided we were going to go from 16 to 20 mythic, so we needed to find an extra mythic.
More mythic.
More mythic must make them open more packs.
Yeah.
So to recap, I would like to see them come up with some way to make competitive Magic matter again. Now,
I think that ship has sailed, but
yeah, in their defense, in 2020, I had just turned 40.
Mm-hmm.
I am now 42 and have a Rugrat.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just natural that I don't care about competitive Magic as much as I did.
Well,
that's not their fault.
I mean, I didn't get since they've abandoned competitive Magic, I have not grown attached to a Rugrat, and I'm in the same boat, so.
Okay. But we have gotten older. Maybe we've just aged out of it.
That's true.
Could we have less products so we can care about things again?
Mm-hmm. Make me excited for a product. I can't be excited about all of them, and by proxy, I'm excited about none of them.
None of them. Can we manage our formats with an eye on them being fun?
Would be nice.
Right? Like, what are cards that are unfun in your format? Remove them.
Mm-hmm. Or pass the reins to somebody that will.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you know what? You, like, the people that have averaged the most trophies on Magic Online and Legacy for the last year and a half, congratulations.
Yeah. You
were the Legacy Committee. Anzid, take off a backpack. Like, figure out what's on the thing. Jigglypoof.
Yeah.
Or Grizzlepoof, you're in there. Let's go. Yeah. Hey, Newton, guess what? You get to be the elves expert. Tell us what we should take out. And then, like, go back to how we used to design sets. Like, I understand there's a new vision where we have to design for the third of the player base. It is commander players. But as we've talked about, I don't know if commander players want to be designed for.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
at this point, I don't know that anybody really wants to be designed for.
Wizards, just take a year off. Just let us
leave our formats alone.
Let us fix your cards, and then we'll be good.
Yeah.
So, with that, I think we have a show.
We have a show.
Again, we want to remind you, we gave you a list of, like, awards.
Mm-hmm.
Give us some nominations so we can talk about them next week.
Yeah, it's way more fun when we get interaction from you guys.
We can do that on, or you can do that on Twitter, Facebook, Discord, email. All those links are in the description. Go there. If you tweet them, I will find them. My Twitter timeline is pretty clean, so I will find them and I will add them to the mix.
Yeah, hit us up. Any of those places are perfect, and probably any place else you can think of that you think might get to us will probably get to us. I will be looking.
I've never learned to read smoke signals, So if you're in your backyard smoke signaling, I've not got that one down.
Okay.
I can't speak for you. You're a more worldly traveled man than I.
Well, I would probably see smoke and not immediately think smoke signal, so it would probably go over my head.
Fair. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
If you're looking to support the show, there's 2 ways you can do that. TCG player affiliate link is the first one. tcg.casualtryhardmtg.com. Follow that link, buy some stuff, support the show. It's as easy as that. Second one is Patreon, patreon.com/casualtryhardmtg. Patrons get access to our show notes and our pre-show, so you get way more content from us. They also get put on my mailing list if you decide to send me your mailing address. For when I have cool stuff, I got some cool stuff for you guys. It just came in, so I don't think I'll have time this week or next week, so maybe early part of the year I will get some stuff mailed out to you guys. So make sure I get your addresses. Very important. And our YouTube channel. Check out our YouTube channel. We're making cool stuff over there. Tomfoolery Tuesdays. The show on Thursdays. Draft content the rest of the week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Tons of stuff. Go check it out. Subscribe and like and leave a comment. Yada, yada, yada.
All that stuff. Let's go.
Yep.
All right. So with that, we'll catch you on the internet.
We'll catch you on the internets.